Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to the Triconna leadership for uh, giving me the privilege to come on the TARP platform to share knowledge with us today. Thank you for having me. I do not take this lightly. So, today we are going to be sharing on a topic that has been assigned to me, which is years before offers. So, it's basically the hidden art, of listening in sales. And as a manner of introduction, I want to uh, make us understand that we are in a world where everyone is quick to respond, everyone is quick to react, everyone is quick to speak, especially when statements are made or when anyone is trying to pass on an information. We have keypad warriors, you understand? A little comment is made by someone on social media, and we have reels of responses and comments that are happening and all that. It's a good thing. But however, listening is an art, it's a skill. And since the audience I have here, most of us are salespeople, it is a necessary skill that every salesperson should be able to have. Should be slow in responding and reacting, and quick in listening. So you slowly lose the art and quality of just listening if you're very fast and responding to your market. And then you easily control the tide in your direction as a salesperson or just a normal human being. You can easily control the tide in your direction when you are a good listener. However, you easily lose connections, you easily lose your people when you are a bad listener. So, this is just a way of introduction. So whether it's a salesperson or in our normal daily lives with loved ones, with connections, so the people we meet with and acquaintances, we should be able to know that we have a responsibility to listen, just listen to people. And there is actually an advantage in doing that. So as we progress, I'm going to go from an individualistic perspective or an individualistic level up to the market level and then industry level of the art of listening and how we can engage listening on these various platforms. So, listening on an individual level, right? So, because I say we have salespersons here more as our audience, I will be streamlining most of our discussions around the subject of sales, okay? And so, when you are an individual as a salesperson, the question is what exactly are your prospects saying? What is your market saying? The person you're trying to sell to, your product, whatever it may be it in the real estate sector, whatever product it is that you are selling, what exactly are they saying? Are you hearing what they are saying? Sometimes what they are saying might not even be oral or verbal. Okay, it could be body languages. Listening does not necessarily mean listening to hear audible voice from a particular person. No. Listening could mean listening to their body languages, it could be listening to their thought patterns, they shrug when you talked about your product, they roll their eyes when you talked about your product. Tiny details like that could be very, very important as a salesperson for you to take note of or observe. As a salesperson, listening, it's not just like I said, auditory, but you can also listen to your environment. You can listen to reactions. You can listen to how do people actually perceive things. Just trying to sell a product, or there's a perception of that product that the person you're talking to already has. Have you tried to understand their own perception of that product while you are shoving your own perception down their throat? So you must be able to pay attention to things like that. So you don't just keep talking and talking and talking. As salespeople, usually we script down, our sales lines, how you want to kill it. You're ready for this. Maybe you're going to a networking meeting, a conference, and all that, and you already have your lines prepared, how you're going to create for them, how you're going to go up the stage, and you're going to just, deliver your line, be it to the large audience or be it to a one-on-one approach and all that. And you just keep talking and talking and selling your product. This thing we always talk about, oh, sell value first, oh, sell benefit first, and all that. Those are good. But then when we keep doing that and we fail to engage listening, all right, to the particular audience we are talking to, then there is a lacuna that always occurs that in most cases keeps you very distant from your prospect or the person you are speaking with. So I had an experience, or I read of an experience sometime when I was doing the research on communication, and I wanted to um, engage. I was engaged by a client, and it was more or less empowering them on communications, marketing and communications. And then I read somewhere a true life story where a sales lady selling some products. Of course, cold, you know what cold calls are. So she random cold calls, and she called this woman. And the recipient on the other side, of course, was a woman. But when she called, we noticed that the background of the woman had children playing around, crying, and all that. And then she just called the lady and started rapping, and started talking about her product and started talking. So for courtesy's sake, the woman just wanted to hear her out, let her finish what she had to say. But obviously, she could tell, or you could tell, that the lady was not concentrating because her child was at the background crying. She needed to pay attention to the child and all that. And two scenarios were played out in that research. And the first lady called and just kept on rapping. We are this, we sell products, this is this. We also sold benefits, like we always say. We also sold value, like we always say. But the question I want to ask, while I would still continue what happened in this story, is that value and benefit she was selling to the recipient on the other side, are they values that are valuable to her? Are there benefits that are beneficial to her? Not all benefits are beneficial to prospects. Not all values you give are valuable to customers. And so, of course, she ended the call, and the lady just immediately, for like I said, for courtesy, listened to her and ended the call and promised she was going to get back to her. And then there was a repeat in this research, and the second lady called, still a cold call, same scenario again. And what happened? While the woman picked the call, and then the same scenario of the children crying and all that, the salesperson that called immediately halted and said, I hear a baby crying. How old is he? How old is she? And then, of course, the recipient normally will respond, oh, it's my baby. She's this. And she just started talking about the child. Oh, how old is she? Oh, why is she crying? I think she will need this. And just changed the entire topic to around motherhood, to around, empathy on, okay, how she's going through taking care of children and a whole lot of things and all that. And it was just a normal human conversation. As at that point, she has not just only brought the attention of the woman, she has proven to the woman that she has empathy. And that suddenly creates a level of conviction and trust already, especially as it was woman to woman. So it had already watered the ground for her to now come back with her sales proposition. And guess what? Of course, after they had done the usual discussions and rantings and all that around children, around the house, around domestic things, then she came up with her proposition. And of course, you and I will know who between the first and the second will close a deal. So why am I saying this? We don't just keep ranting and ranting. We must pay attention to the environment, to the body reactions, to the responses, to the tone, body languages of whoever it is we are speaking to, and it will help us a lot as we progress. I will reel to us out the benefits of such activity. So it's a skill, all right, and it's something you have to be intentional about as a salesperson. So when you reach out to your prospects, the first thing you should have in mind, or the first mission, is, look, I want to understand everything about my client, not just the client wanting to understand your products or your services, as the case may be. Primary assignment is, I want to know this guy. I want to get into his mind. I want to get into his head and understand exactly what it is that he thinks or he believes of my service and product. Now we're going to transcend from the individual level to the market level. So it's more on a broader scale now. So as a salesperson, you understand your product knowledge, you understand your market, you know who your markets are. So there's no confusion in that. But then, do you listen to your market? What is the market saying? Now, like I said, it must not be auditory, all right? Have you done your market research? Have you done your observations? Have you done surveys? Have you done feedbacks concerning things around your products or services to be able to understand their own perspective of your product, or if indeed the so-called market you feel is your market actually needs your product or your service? So have you carried out any of these activities to show that you are listening to the market? There's something we call market perception, and that is how do your market perceive your product. So because most of us here are realtors, and our products here it's the real estate. In this part of the world where we are right now, we understand that people are going through a lot when it comes to real estate investments, where they have been hit or beat hard by scammers, by people that are not genuine and all of that. So most times when you go out, the first reaction I know that you get is that reaction of uncertainty, that reaction of, oh, this is a risk, that reaction of, oh, I'm not sure you guys are legit. That is a reaction that you should take very seriously. That's a reaction that you should be able to perceive. Oh, this is a perception of the market concerning real estate. All right. And in such case, you are understanding that, okay, if we are to do an analysis, right, it means we have more of unbelievers in real estate than believers in real estate. That's data for you. And that's something you can work with as we progress. I'm going to tell us how we can all put all of this data together and then make progress. Okay. So how does your market react to your own personal brand? There is a way the market can react to products at that level generally, and then there is also a way the market can respond to your own brand. I have seen situations where I walk into rooms and people are talking about real estate companies, and you hear one particular name of a real estate company with bad vibes, like they just give bad reports about that particular real estate company. So it's important for you to know you might be a realtor selling a particular brand without even knowing or being aware that the brand you're selling, it's questionable. Okay, so, and how do you know this? From the reactions and the feedback you get from your market, through the surveys, like I mentioned earlier, through your observations and all of this. So what are the expectations? What are their needs? What do you think are the needs of your market? What are the expectations? Do you think your product will do justice to those needs? How do you know this? Through your market research, through your service, through your feedback forms that you can, pass on to this particular target market or segment. Through your research, all of these things will help for you to understand. So that's practically you listening to your market. All right. And so we're going to transcend from the market level to what I call the industry level of listening. Okay. So how do you listen to your industry? Okay. You're the real estate sector. What is happening in the industry now? Are there policies that have been enacted that is affecting positively or negatively the industry that will in turn affect the demand of your market? You need to pay attention to this. So you cannot just be aloof and feel, I'm just here to come and sell land. I'm just here to come and salesperson. My job is to gather quick, good sales skills and go out there and sell. No. Remember, the place of humanity comes to play in sales, because every prospect you meet should not just believe that you are interested in getting money out of your pocket, but they should believe that you are actually interested in their needs or worries or concerns that your product or service is coming to solve. So there should be that connectivity to show humanity, to show empathy, to show understanding, and not to be insensitive. There are some salespeople that come to you and, see how they just keep shoving, especially not to speak down on most of the networking I think they call this produce, some of this organic products that they have their salespeople and they grow their lines or something. And when these guys come at you with their products, oh my God, it's like it's a yes or yes answer. You have no choice. Whether you need this product or not, you must buy it and all that. So you're just choking it down your throat at all levels. No, that's not the essence of what we're talking about here. At industry level, you're understanding what is happening in the industry that affects the market. I need to know what are the policies that have been released by the government that is affecting the industry. How can the trends that are happening in the industry affect my product, affect my brand, or affect? So what are we talking about in the real estate industry today? There is, I would say, it's a time when things should ordinarily boom. And I'll get right to that. But if you're not listening to the industry, you won't know that. You won't even know that this is a particular. Ordinarily, the real estate industry is a thriving one. But as it is right now, the real estate industry is in a particular moment where it is to super. If it was thriving before, it should super thrive. So if you're listening to the industry, you understand that that's the stage that you are in. We transcend to listening also on issues around politics. Your ears should be at the corridors of government, ministries, departments, and agencies that are connected to or concerned with your brand, the products or the services that you render, or the industry in which your products and services are under. What are the governments? What are the policies that have been made by the government to ensure that we are safe, we are okay? All right. I remember a time in Lagos when there was a service that had to do with, they were using bikes. I don't know whether it was okay or so, but that was how they started with bikes and everything, and they were booming. It was a startup. They were doing very well, no issues. I'm sure in their business plan they had seen that, oh God, they were going to kill it with the numbers and all of a sudden, overnight, the Lagos state government declares that cadres have all been buying. All right, so it's not like the Lagos state government was witch hunting them. The Lagos state government was doing whatever they were doing, presumably, okay, for the interest of Lagosians, but then had just crumbled a particular business. Okay, why am I saying this? You need to be aware of what is happening in the political terrain of not just the place where your business is resident in, all right, but also in the neighboring cities or countries, as the case may be. So don't say nothing concerns me with politics. Everything should concern you with politics. So a salesperson is ordinarily a smart person that has knowledge in virtually everything. A good salesperson must be perpetually relevant, and that's the only way you can be perpetually relevant is knowing something about everything. So it makes you vast. It even helps you in your communication with clients, with prospects, as the case may be, when you're grounded and you're sound and you're not just talking product. But when the client talks left, you follow him to that left. He talks right, you follow him to that right. It means you're actually grounded. All right. So politically as well, you should be grounded with at least the basic things that are happening in your company to aid your sales work and all that. And then also let's transcend to what I call the global or the national economic level. Do you even know what the pulse of Nigerian economy is right now as a salesperson? You must be able to listen to and know the tempo of the economy of the country that you are resident in or that your business is resident in, because it impacts on your business. What do you know about our present economic situation? What do you know about Nigerians' GDP at this point? What do you know about what the real estate industry or whatever industry it is that you are a salesperson representing? How much does it impact the nation that you are in economically? These are key things that you must learn to listen to. So listening here, like I said, it's not just waiting for an auditory tone from your customer. No, there are various areas and elements and factors of listening that could occur. Okay, so let me give another practical example. Now, there is something called the Trump effect that is happening globally, where one man speaks and things are upturned, nations are shaking, everybody's realigning. As salespeople right now, okay, you should be watching the news every day. And I'll tell you how this affects even the real estate specifically. So we've come to a point where, because of tariffs that have been levied at various countries, and then a lot of executive orders given by Trump, stock exchange markets now are upturned. Yes, we understand naturally the stock exchange market is very volatile. Okay, it goes up, it goes down. It's very, very risk intense. However, now it's a different ballgame altogether. Industries are being hit seriously. So you see where tariff is being given or is being levied at a country, and then you see countries giving retaliatory tariffs, all right, back to the US. All of these things are affecting industries in the various countries. the entire supply chain, because basically the world's economy is centered around supply chain, imports and exports and all of those things. So industries are being hit, be it the mobile industry, be it steel company, be it the natural resources industry, whatever it is, industries are being hit right now. And so most of the stock exchanges are going down. People are not sure of what to expect. All right. So the stock exchange market is not very, very, exciting at the moment, even if yes, the real players of investments in shares and all that know that this is just a momentary thing. But right now, it's not. And now this is where I now say the real estate market is now supposed to be the next person you are in bed with, or the next person the market is supposed to be in bed with, because it is a sure deal. All right. So that's why I said now it's the time. Because other investor wouldn't want to, I would want to hold back with my investment across my portfolio or my asset class. I would want to hold on a bit because I want to understand where all of these trade wars are going to. So I would rather carry my finance or my funds and invest in the real estate sector where I know that, okay, for now I'm guaranteed this will be bringing good and meaningful returns to me. So if you are not listening to what is happening in the global economy, how do you know this? How do you know this? All right. So that's where listening comes to play. The art of listening is very essential to all salespeople. In fact, not just salespeople, every normal, regular human being, must have the art of listening. It helps even in your relationships, your personal relationships. It also helps for you to listen to your partner, understand your partner, feel their pulse, so that you can be able to react or respond accordingly as well. Now, the question is, when you finish listening at all of these levels, or whatever level that is applicable to you, what do you do after listening? Is it to now offer what you have? No, it's still not time. So when you do most of this listening, you have now gathered what I call information and data that you can now use to make informed decision as a salesperson. You now become more strategic in your approach to giving your offers to the prospect or your clients, as the case may be. So let me give an instance. You have done your observations with your market, you have done an observation with your individual prospect, you've done your observations about the global economy, you've done observations about the industry and all of that. Now you have data, factual data that can now help you strategize and tailor your offer more that will be befitted for your prospects or for your clients, as the case may be. So when you actually go to them, you're not just going to them ranting, you're going to them actually hitting them at the point where you know that they will not be able to say no, because you've done your homework. You've done your homework in listening to all the other factors that are necessary. And now you've gathered data, you are now more strategic in your approach of getting to them, of knowing beforehand what they have perceived about your product, or what they are perceiving about your product, what the industry is saying. So when they come from left, you know how to tackle them. They come from the right, you know how to tackle them, because you are now working with information. You're not working blindly, or rather, you're not selling blindly. You're not selling from a blank knowledge. You're now selling from a very informed point of view, because you have actually done your homework of doing what? Of listening, which is actually an art when we want to sell and when we want to win and win right. So it all boils down to one question. Are we listening as salespeople? Are we listening? And if we are, what are we listening to? All right. So it's one thing for you to listen and another thing for you to listen and actually listen right. So you don't miss the key issues. You don't miss the pressing issues or the important issues and listen wrongly. So there's every tendency that we can also listen. Okay, so it's proper we listen and we listen right, get the right information that we need, gather it together, and then strategically make your offer to, as case may be, your target market or your segment or your prospect, as the case may be. And of course, when we have situations like this, you see that you always win in sales. So I'm hoping that with all of this, we will be able to go back as salespeople, back to the drawing board, and scratch off the idea of just ranting and rapping lines about your product because you have good product knowledge, but begin to learn intentionally how to listen. Sometimes you can even have a meeting with a prospect, and all you want to do that in that meeting is just allow them talk. Just allow them talk. Don't even sell anything yet. Just hear them out, understand them, know them. From how they talk about different issues in their life or different topics, which is why I said you need to be vast so that you can actually hold a healthy conversation with them. Whenever they run around different topics, you're also giving meaningful conversations and responses. Listen to them, and that meeting should just be about listening to them. All right. It's not compulsory you must close in that day. Build a genuine interest in whatever it is that they are saying. And then the next meeting, you're going home to work more strategically with the information you've gotten from this person. And then you'll be able to offer an offer right. So I believe that with this, we'll be able to sell better by listening better. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.